The oceans are hiding a secret. Not what's inside them, but what happens if they suddenly vanish. Imagine this. Every drop of water on Earth disappears in a single minute. No warning. No countdown. Just gone. Sounds impossible, right? But hold on to that thought, because the deeper you go, the stranger it gets. Right now, oceans cover 70% of our planet. That's not just water. It's over 1 billion cubic kilometers of it. Hard to picture? Imagine endless Olympic pools stacked across the globe. Now imagine them empty. Completely empty. But here's the strange part. Even if we drilled a massive portal at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, say, the size of a basketball court, it wouldn't matter. At normal speed, draining the oceans would take hundreds of thousands of years. So what changes everything? A pump. Not just any pump. A hypothetical machine powerful enough to drain all oceans in 60 seconds. And this is where it gets weird. The moment it starts, the surface becomes chaos. Swimmers don't swim, they fall. Boats don't float, they crash. Within 1 second, shallow waters turn into hard ground. People hit the seabed with brutal force. But that's not even the craziest part. Deep-sea ships? They don't get a second chance. In just 30 seconds, even massive cruise liners slam into the ocean floor, crushed beyond recognition. And as the water disappears, something begins to fall from the sky. What exactly is raining down next? Fish. Millions of them. And not just fish. Whales, dolphins, massive sea creatures that once ruled the oceans. With nothing left to float in, they drop. From the surface, all the way down. A global rain of life turning into instant death. But here's the strange part. Not everything falls. Some creatures near the ocean floor face something worse. As the water drains, a violent current pulls downward. Many are dragged into the unknown, toward whatever is swallowing the oceans. So now the oceans are gone. Empty basins stretch across the planet. Trenches deeper than mountains are tall. Landscapes never meant to be seen are suddenly exposed. And that's when things change. Because oceans don't just hold water. They control the planet. Right now, they act like a massive heat shield, absorbing sunlight, moving warm water across the globe, keeping climate stable. Remove them, and Earth loses its balance. Temperatures begin to swing wildly. Days become scorching. Nights turn freezing. Regions that once thrived become unlivable within hours. But that's not even the biggest problem. There's something else the oceans do, something far more critical. Something invisible. Something that disappears the moment the water is gone. And once it's gone, there's no turning back. Rain. It sounds simple, ordinary. But without oceans, rain stops. Completely. And this is where it gets terrifying. The water cycle collapses instantly. No evaporation. No clouds forming. No storms rolling in. The sky becomes silent. At first, nothing feels different. Rivers still flow. Lakes still shimmer. But that illusion doesn't last. Within days, evaporation begins to drain what little water remains. Lakes shrink. Rivers dry. Reservoirs vanish. And here's the twist. 97% of Earth's water was in the oceans. Without them, what's left is barely enough to matter. So the question becomes, how long can life survive? Not long. Humans begin to feel it first. Dehydration sets in within days. Panic spreads faster than the disappearing water. Cities collapse into chaos. But that's not even the worst part. Plants, Earth's silent oxygen factories, start dying. Slowly at first, then all at once. Without water, they wither. Forests begin turning into dry, lifeless husks. And that's when something unexpected happens. All that dead vegetation, it doesn't just sit there. It ignites. And suddenly, the entire planet starts to burn. Fires erupt across continents. Not isolated flames, but massive, unstoppable infernos. Forests that once produced oxygen now consume it. Smoke fills the sky. The air thickens, darkens. And this is where it gets worse. With fewer plants, oxygen levels begin to drop. Slowly, then rapidly. Breathing becomes harder. The atmosphere itself turns hostile. But here's the strange part. At the same time, temperatures are rising. Without oceans to regulate heat, the planet absorbs sunlight like a furnace. Surface temperatures climb higher and higher. And that's when things spiral out of control. Dry air, high heat, low oxygen. It's a perfect storm for extinction. Animals collapse first, then humans. Civilization fades, not with a bang, but with silence. But that's not even the end. The real transformation is just beginning. Over time, Earth begins to resemble something else entirely. Something we've already seen in our solar system. A planet with extreme heat. Thick, toxic atmosphere. No oceans. No life. A world eerily similar to Venus. And here's the unsettling question. Was Earth always this fragile? Or did we just remove the one thing holding everything together? Because when you step back, the oceans weren't just part of Earth. They were Earth's life support system. They controlled temperature, created weather, sustained ecosystems, balanced the atmosphere. Remove them, and everything unravels faster than anyone expects. But here's the twist that changes everything. Even if we had the power to drain the oceans, we wouldn't need to. Because in smaller ways, we're already disrupting them. Rising temperatures, changing currents, dying marine life. It's not instant. It's not dramatic. But it's happening. And that raises a question no one wants to answer. If removing the oceans destroys the planet in minutes, what happens when we slowly break them over decades? And this is where it gets uncomfortable. Because unlike the impossible scenario of a giant ocean-draining machine, this version is real. It's gradual, invisible, easy to ignore, until it's too late. So maybe the real mystery isn't what would happen if the oceans disappeared overnight, but whether we'd even notice before it starts to feel the same. And if that moment comes, will we still have time to stop it? Or would we already be past the point of no return?